I'll contextualize the research process a little bit into today's times, which is the availability of generative AI models, which have short circuited the process in many ways. Also, allowed a lot of people to cheat, right, in a manner of speaking. And there are a lot of concerns which stem from it, the genuine research, the actual publication value. Say something about that in terms of how you believe a student could potentially approach something which is intriguing him or her, and he or she wants to do a research on that, given the fact that there are LLMs available, given the fact that the journals available which will help you publish, which are not necessarily fairly legit or fairly competitive or peer reviewed for that matter. So, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously to write your research paper, you could simply just ChatGPT it up and it would tell you the entire structure, which is helpful because as long as you know the structure, you can go ahead and write it. And then you can also practically ask it to do your research for you, but then that would defeat the entire purpose of you going out and wanting to search for the ideas that you had written down earlier. So I would say that with all these AI models, again, it's really easy to basically ask it to write you a paper, but then it's going to be very sloppy and no, it won't be accepted in many journals. And it's fairly obvious to detect it as AI. So although it can help you during the journey, it can help you give you the structure or give you even articles to read. I would say that it's not the tool to go to because I would say things like Google Scholar was what I used a lot and just skimming through papers. And obviously, if you don't understand, you can ask ChatGPT. But when I read through the papers, my main aim was not to fully understand, but to get a general idea of what the paper was doing. And then when I did do an experiment, I tried to make it a physical experiment instead of having to cite lots of papers because I found that boring. But my physical experiments made sure that it was from me by me and it was really credible. So that's one way I navigated the AI scene. And with the journals, there's a lot online, but I would say my mentor or professor who helped me here because he was aware of a lot of journals which were credible as he was a student at university already. But even online, I would say any journals which are connected to a prestigious university, those journals are pretty legitimate compared to other third party ones.
That's fair. I'll paraphrase and maybe add some more thoughts of mine. I think the point of research is that you learn to research and you acquire a few skills. Just because you have a tool available which can short circuit the process for you does not mean you got to use it. And that's where internal honesty is very important, because if you are in there for the purpose of really going over the hill, really going to a difficult university or actually learn, which is the point of this entire process, then you better do it yourself rather than relying on a third party tool. Also, when you do research, some of those things which you mentioned, like doing a physical experiment or collecting primary data, those are some of those mechanisms which allow you to bring in legitimacy and authenticity to your research, which probably a literature review or an insight based journaling process would not. So I think some of those pieces remain important and continue to be relevant even in this time when AI has short circuited the process.